I'm here today with the person who I invited to be my guest at last night's State of the Union address, and it's Councilman Joe Buscaino. And the reason I thought you'd be the perfect guest is, of course, because we represent many of the same constituents, both in my congressional district and in your city council district. So let me just ask you how your trip has been so far, what have been the highlights, and what you thought of the president's speech last night.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Congresswoman Hahn. Let me say how just thrilled and excited I was just to be at my first State of the Union address and to be amongst our nation's leaders in one room, the halls of Congress. And coming from a family of Italian immigrants, and I had to pinch myself, and it was pretty surreal. And I just can't thank you enough for giving me this opportunity and to share the experience with our LA delegation, right? We had some folks from Watts appear as First Lady Obama's guests, and Mayor Garcetti joined us as well. And it was just
LA
amazing.
Was in the house last night at the State of the Union.
Absolutely, well represented. And as far as, and just also communicating with our constituents that I was here in Washington, D.C. to be a part of the President's State of the Union address. We had some great feedback from our residents through our social media networks. And thanks for retweeting some of the stuff that we put out too.
Yeah, I think it's great. Of course, I think it's great. Well, I always try to find a local angle for everything I do back here, because if our constituents back home can't feel like they're a part of what we're doing and that we represent them in everything we do, that's why I think it's social media or any way we can communicate to them back home that we're thinking about them and finding a local angle for everything we do. So what do you think about the president's speech?
And let me say, you're right. Your congressional district mirrors my council district, and we have so much in common as far as leading both on the local and federal level, which makes me just realize even more so the importance of the president's speech and how it relates to our district. He was talking to us.
He was. He
was talking about improving the infrastructure, not only on our streets and sidewalks, but our ports.
You mentioned ports.
And I heard you say ports.
Yeah.
I know you're excited about that.
And, you heard it all the way up in the gallery.
I did. And I know you've been a champion for the ports, creating your port caucus. But he was spot on when he said we have to improve the infrastructure and modernize our ports. For us, the San Pedro ports, Bay ports, impacts 3 million jobs nationwide. And knowing that we have friends and family who move those goods, is important to realize. Important to support the president's efforts in modernizing our ports. And for chairing public works in the city of Los Angeles, we're doing everything we can to fix our roads. 2/3 of our roads, our streets are in failed condition.
I know.
And 40% of our sidewalks are failed as well.
And what do people care about? They care about their sidewalks, their roads, their trees. That's what improves somebody's quality of life, is the roads they drive on every day, the sidewalks they attempt to walk on. So I think your initiative to fix and repair our roads and sidewalks is right on.
And you get it, because you were once in these shoes as a local council member.
Right.
And to see you support and embrace, fix our infrastructure, because, the council office, every day we get pothole requests and streets. So the relationship between local and federal government needs to thrive. And the president, I felt, just shined last night. And he was speaking to cities all across the country, and his initiative of bringing the federal government to city halls is something that we support and embrace, and strengthening our middle class. You put it best yesterday. I believe you said, good paying skills.
Skills to pay your bills. Skills
right?
to pay your bills, yeah.
We need to brand that.
Yeah, I think that's important. Well, I loved it last night that the president did start out by reminding the country how well we are doing. Unemployment is as low as it's ever been. Our economy is picking up. There's more people have health insurance, which is a huge quality of life issue for people. But you and I know, because of the districts that we both represent, that people are still feeling the pinch. And a lot of people don't necessarily feel like it's gotten a lot better for them. And that's why I think his emphasis on middle-class economics, skills to pay your bills, is really perfect for our district. And we have a great community college, Harvard College, and the president's initiative for free community college for everybody is a great initiative. And that is what will make a difference, I think, for a lot of the people that we represent. I mean, that's a good start, a good leg up on either getting a 4-year education or vocational classes with skills to really be a part of this 21st economy. So I really appreciate that.
As a Seahawk myself, graduating from LA Harvard College, I was just so proud of him really taking that strong leap to offer free community college to everyone in this country. And we applaud his efforts, and even the importance of adding technology and innovation in his speech and moving forward to the 21st century. And I love how he talked about police-community relationships. We had Prophet Walker there, who turned his life around. We had Captain Phil Tingrides in the Southeast. You've started the Watts Gang Task Force. Today it's thriving.
And it's a model. And
it's
I know,
a great model.
You're continuing that. I mean, that's a group of residents that meet every Monday morning in your council office in Watts with the police, with the sheriffs, with folks representing the schools, with the faith-based community, with community activists, and people who've turned their lives around. All meet in the same room, and they've been able to, forge the kind of trust between the community and the police department. And you, as a former police officer, know that if you don't have that trust between the community and the police department, it's not going to work. And we're a model for the rest of the country. And I see what's going on in Ferguson or New York. And Watts and our police department, I think, is a model for the rest of the country.
For the president and the first lady to recognize that Watts is on the map here in Washington, D.C. And we welcome cities across the country to come see that these relationships between the police and the community, the trust factor is alive and well, and the fact that the police officers are working with former gang members. That when there's a homicide, the area commanding officer calls a former gang member and says, help.
And the residents have their cell phone numbers, When something's going down, they call the police. That did not happen 20 years ago. It's a new day. But to see Captain Phil Tingrides, the commanding officer of Southeast Division, sitting up in the First Lady's box was such a thrill, and really good for LAPD, for the department, but really good for the community of Watts. So it was very, very exciting. And the ports, again, when the president walked down the aisle, and I got to shake his hand after the speech, I said, "I love it, Mr. President, when you mention ports." And he said, I love ports. And I think, our port is, as you said, it fuels the national economy, but it's so much a part of our local economy.
It hits
in San Pedro and Wilmington. It's really, it was great to hear him talk about investing in our ports and
our longshoremen. They are the main stronghold of our middle class.
They really are.
And we can't lose that.
No, and when they're not getting their paychecks, the businesses in the harbor area can feel that. The restaurants can feel it. The dry cleaners can feel it. All those small businesses feel it when they're not getting checks. So it's vital to our economy.
Thanks again for really
You're welcome.
including me.
It's been great.
It was an amazing opportunity.
Sorry about the snow today. We don't get snow in San Pedro.
We love seeing
very often, but except if you truck it in for one of your Christmas events.
That's right.
But really glad you're here. I was so proud to have you as my guest, and so proud of the work you're doing on the City Council. I think your relationship with Mayor Garcetti is so good for the people that you represent. That's a good relationship, and we appreciate your hard work.
Well, let's show the country that both local and the federal government needs these partnerships.
That's right.
We let this serve as a model to our friends and colleagues both on the local and federal level that this relationship is alive and well, and we hope that other congressional districts mirror what our Congresswoman is doing with her local official, and everything. municipalities, that's where everything's happened.
Right.
You know, that's
And
where the
our
revenue's from.
constituents want us to work together. They want the state elected officials, the local, the federal.
Right.
They want us to work together.
Yes.
And I think we're showing that can happen.
And we need each other to be successful.
We do. Thanks again
Thank you so
for
much,
being my
Janice.
guest.